has anyone here ever been to a wedding where the best man and the maid of honor were both twins? Y'all can check that off your bucket list, all right? So, sticking on the twin topic for a second, ever since Matt and Monica got engaged, I was asking myself one question, and I feel like I ask it to myself every single week. You know how people say that twins skip a generation? Well, what happens when a twin marries a triplet? What does that kid situation look like? No, I'd like to start off tonight by thanking Fatty and Cindy. Thank you for welcoming me and my whole family into your family, and to my mom and dad, Sue and Jerry. This night could not be possible without you guys. And speaking of that, the very first time I knew Matt and Monica were going to get married is when I met Fatty Shahadi, because he is literally the Lebanese version of Jerry McEvely. They both like to golf, they both like good red wine, and they both enjoy an occasional cigar. So again, thank you to the four of you. This night has been incredible, and it's only going to get better. I'm going to start with Monica tonight. So Monica's senior year at Dayton, we all came back for a weekend, and we met up at one of the classiest establishments at Dayton, which is Timothy's Bar and Grill. So we were there one Saturday night, and it got to be about midnight, which was way past my bedtime, so I was ready to leave. And so I leave, and I go and I play euchre with a bunch of my buddies, a bunch of the guys I used to live with at UD. So I leave the bar, and I'm walking, and I get a phone call from Monica. So I say, "Hey, Mon, what's up?" She was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I just left to go play euchre and hang out with some of the guys." And she silent. And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I could come back if you want me to come back." And she was like, "So you're not going to hang out with me tonight?" And I was like, I can come back. And click, she hung up on me. Right? And I'm a guy that overthinks everything, so I have a million things going through my head. If anyone's gotten an earful from Matt, you don't want to be on the other end of it. So I was like, he's going to be mad at me that I'm not hanging out with his new girlfriend. And so little did I know, I heard from people that were at the bar still, Monica was not happy, and Matt came out of the bathroom and was like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And Monica looked at him and was like, "You left." Monica thought that she called Matt, but she called me. And at first I was like, wait, it's not that hard to believe. I'm like just getting to know Monica. She likes me better than Matt. So Monica, you've taught me many things. You've taught me how to properly shimmy. You've taught me how to not be so stiff on the dance floor. But most of all, you have made me realize that there is no one else in this world that I would rather call my sister. And as Bailey already alluded to, in the famous words of Lou Bega, everyone needs a little bit of Monica in their life. Matthew. First of all, thank you for giving Ryan and I a sister. We've had too much damn testosterone in this family for too long. Matt, we've been through it all. We grew up playing the same sports, hanging out with the same friend groups, going to the same college, working in the same industry, and now living in the great state of Ohio, by the way. Even though Matt is a fake Buckeye fan, and we're not going to get into that tonight. But Um, Matt has been obviously my best friend for the last 27 years. And for any of you that know Matt, you know that he is as selfless and fearless as they come. So even though that I was the firstborn by a minute, Matt tried everything first when we were younger. So for those of you that were at the rehearsal dinner last night, we went through a lot of the first, so I'll save the time there. But at the end of the day, Matt saved me from getting in a lot of trouble when I was little because he always used to try something first and then I wouldn't do it. And we got in trouble with my parents a lot, right? So like I said, we've done everything together, just about the most cliche twins could ever be. The other thing is that we're probably the least handy set of twins you've ever gonna meet. And this is really weird because my dad is the handyman. So I'm sorry, Dad, in advance if I embarrass you and tell this story in front of 290 people, but I'm gonna run with it. So, when Matt and I get together, we're at our senior year of college at UD. And at our house, we had a parking lot behind us that other UD students felt like they owned, and they would park there when Matt and I wanted to come back and park in our backyard. So Matt and I, for those of you who know how Matt gets, when he gets on something, he's like, come on, Mark, let's. We're going out and we're letting the air out of their tires. So I'm like, okay, let's go do it. So these are two cars that were there. They've been there for like the past month. Matt had enough of it, and I'm just following along. Unscrew the caps to the tire. So we have them. We take the caps, put them in our pocket. We're high-fiving. We're like, this is going to be awesome when they come back, and they're not going to be able to drive away because their tires are flat. So our adrenaline's going. We come back into the house, and one of our roommates, Chaz, comes back from class. So we're telling him the story. We're like, Chaz, you're just never going to believe this. Look what we just did. And so we're telling him the story, and Chaz goes, so you just took the caps off on the tires. And Matt and I look at each other, and we're like, well, yeah, what else are you supposed to do? And he goes, so you didn't physically let the air out of the tires. So needless to say, Matt and I did not teach anyone a lesson that day. We both know how to put a financial plan together, but we can't let air out of tires. A couple of months ago, someone asked me what the most proud moment has been in my life. And I would have a different answer today. Matt, it has been my honor to grow up with you the past 27 years. You're my role model. I look up to you. I love being able to call and text you every day, even though if you don't answer me all the time. And to all of you, Matt is a twin. But to me, he's my twin. We have tattoos to prove it too, by the way, if anyone wants to see him at the end of the night. But I would like to raise a glass to the new Mr. and Mrs. McEvely. Salute.